My name is Hilary Clark. I am the 2-Gen coordinator here. Today I have Kris Krivanek. Kris, would you mind telling me a little bit about what you do at Blueprints?
Yes, I am the Pre-K Counts program manager. I was hired in 2007 when Head Start State received expansion funding to open up pre-K classrooms, and I was brought on at that point to start work with the program. So I've been around for a while with pre-K.
Oh, wonderful. So how many classrooms do you have in early learning?
I can speak specific to pre-K. There's a lot of Head Start classrooms, but I think that Brenda or Matt would probably be able to give you the numbers. For pre-K counts, we have 29 classrooms, 20 that are our lead agency, which means we operate those with our staff, teaching staff in those. But then we also have 9 childcare partner locations where we pass through funding, and then local childcares that are Star 3 or 4 operate pre-Ks within their centers with their staff.
So where are the classrooms located?
We have a lot. As I said, since there's 29, we're pretty much throughout Washington and Greene counties. In Washington, to name a few, we're in Beth Center, Burgestown, Washington Park, Trinity North, Trinity South. We're out in Avella. We're kind of in almost every school district in Washington. We're not in a little bit of the more affluent areas such as Peters, but we do serve Muse Elementary in the Canamac district. And then in Greene County, we're actually located in all of the school districts within Greene. So we're in Southeastern Greene, West Greene, Central Greene. We actually have 2 classrooms there, Carmichael's and Jefferson Morgan. And then we also serve the Mon Valley with Ringgold North, Ringgold South, Charleroi, and Bentworth. And then we're lucky enough to have childcare partners in 2 of those areas. We have a number of childcare partners that help us here in Washington. We have Kiddos, Kid Biz, Smart Kids, Once Upon a Time, and Little Rascals. And then in the Mon Valley area, we have Kiddos. Oh, I said Kiddos already. I guess they're kind of both. But we have Kiddos, SPHS, Mon Valley Y. And the nice thing about our child care partners is they can offer wraparound services to families who need more than our traditional 6-hour day that we offer. They offer sibling care. So if there's children who have younger brothers or older brothers and sisters that need care, they can go there as well. And it also is nice because they have a continuity of care. So if there's a child in one of our partners that's starting out as an infant or a toddler, they can grow and move into our pre-K program as long as they're income eligible to do so. So they don't have to uproot them and move to another classroom. We currently don't have any partners for childcare in Greene County, and that was mainly because there were no Star 3 or Star 4 childcares in Greene County. We are hoping to expand for this next program year into Greene County. We have spoken with Rainbow's End Greene, which is currently a partner in Washington, and they've achieved their Star 3, so we're hoping that happens. We'll see with the impact of all of what's going on right now, how that impacts our expansion, but hopefully soon.
Right, wonderful. So what curriculums do you use in the classroom?
We use a few different ones. Our main curriculum that we use is Teaching Strategies Gold. It's through the creative curriculum, and it links early learning standards to developmentally appropriate activities. So the children learn through center-based play, through large and small group activities, and it's all centered around what they're learning at that time. And so we might be doing, a topic for the whole classroom, but it's individualized based on where the children are. And the nice thing with our Teaching Strategies Gold is they collect data on the kids throughout the program, and then they can gear their lessons so that children that are doing really well can get some more challenging work, and then children who are struggling a little, they can bring that down to their level and then scaffold to build it back up. So it's a really good curriculum. We've been using it since the inception of pre-K. Head Start also utilizes the same curriculum. We also use a phonemic awareness curriculum, which sounds a little high-end for early learning, but it's basically a very simple program that helps with rhyming, with sounds, and that type of thing. And it's just short little activities that they can do with the kids when they're standing in line waiting to go to the cafeteria or standing in line waiting to use the restroom. When there's a pause in circle time, they'll just throw in a couple activities. So it's not what you would picture in the elementary schools per se. And then we also use Second Step, which is a social emotional curriculum to help the children learn how to problem solve, to understand their emotions, and how to kind of interact with their peers appropriately.
So what do you value and appreciate most about Blueprint's teachers?
We have really good teachers. It's amazing to me. A good deal of the teachers that started with our program are still with our program. I could name probably half a dozen at least that were here, when I started, teachers, and another half a dozen TAs. It seems like they're very committed to the mission. And I think teachers in general have that automatic almost buy-in, or at least they should, if they're working with young children. And so they value what they're doing. The one thing I would say about our teachers is when the pandemic started, we received guidance from OCTA, which is our governing unit. And they basically said that for pre-K counts, there was no expectation that any virtual learning or connection had to go on. There's no requirement. So even though it would be a best practice to do things, they weren't making us do so. And I think it's because it wasn't planned and they didn't know the best format to do that statewide, with every pre-K out there. And Blueprints as an agency still wanted to engage families. And so they were talking, Brenda, myself, Matt, talking with Darlene, coming up with what we were going to do as an agency to still reach out to the families. And in the meantime, I would say almost all of our teachers took it on themselves to start connecting with families. Like when I went to talk with them about what we were considering doing, I was amazed by what they were already doing to not lose touch with their kids. And that was completely unsolicited, unrequired, and they want to be with their kids. And I think people always picture teachers are with the kids and they can't wait for summer to escape from them and be on their own. But teachers, and especially our teachers, miss what they normally do, and they miss those kiddos, So I just think that says worlds about the commitment level they have. So we have a great group of teaching staff.
Wonderful. So how have the teachers been connecting with families to support virtual learning?
As an agency, we have been putting out weekly lessons through social media where there's a story geared to both preschool children and then another story geared to like infants, toddlers, and then some activities that would enhance learning around those stories. So we've put those out in conjunction with Head Start, and we try to focus them on including in mind. So there might be a yoga activity or something, for thinking, on movement and music. So there's outside nature walks, there's dancing, as well as some STEM activities like art and math that are building off of the stories. It's a little bit tricky because we have to think about what the families have at home. And so even though we're used to teaching in a classroom where we have an unlimited amount of supplies, parents these days don't have coffee filters because everyone has a Keurig. So you can't just think that everyone's going to be able to do the same lessons. So we're doing that as an agency. Individually, our teachers are doing a variety of things. A lot of our teachers use Class Dojo, which is a format to communicate back and forth with the families that our school districts use. And so they've stayed in touch by sending virtual lessons. The families will take pictures or videos and send them back to the teachers showing what the kids are doing. They've videotaped themselves reading stories to the children. Our Ringgold classroom participated in a parade. The district had a parade where they drove around the neighborhood waving to the families, and our teachers participated in that. A couple of our teachers took it upon themselves to mail individual "I miss you" letters to the families, so just the children would have something in their hands. And just a lot of neat little things they're doing. The response has been really good. Most of the families they've reached out to are excited, to be hearing from their teachers. They have shared some resources. There's so many out there right now with ABC Mouse and the different things, but they don't want to just overwhelm them with here's a list of 800 resources, start doing your own thing. They've been trying to have that interaction. And we have a couple teachers who just get on and will sort of video talk with their children so that they can make that connection. So it's been going really well. It's something obviously that wasn't planned, but to the best of everyone's ability, they're making it work.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So can you tell us about the tote distribution that was held in April?
Yes, yes. Typically, at the end of each school year, Pre-K and Head Start give out tote bags to the children that are leaving the program that contains some kindergarten readiness and transition materials. And then they also give out tote bags to the children that are returning that have just some summer learning activities, some books that are appropriate for their age, and just some odds and end materials. We had purchased all of those materials previously, during the program year. And so when we found out that we weren't going to be able to return to programming for this year, we wanted to still be able to share those resources with our families. And so we put out totes that included 4 early learning books for each child. They had a variety of writing utensils, just because we had not planned on purchasing for the large quantity of all the children that were kind of doing it. But we had crayons or markers or colored pencils. We had scissors, writing paper, construction paper. We had some art activities that went in there. We had a donation from the Mariana Outdoorsman Association, so they supplied some materials. We had a donation from Target. And so it just had a lot of varied educational resources in it. It was really well received. I couldn't believe how well received it was, to be honest. We had, I think, over 500 families altogether participate. When Brenda tallied it up, I think we had about 135 pre-K kiddos, and I think at least 350 or so Head Start, and then some early Head Start. And what they did was they set up distribution sites. So they had one site that was a core location in Washington, one in Greene, and one in the Valley, so that the majority of the families could travel to those sites and pick up a bag on the day of distribution. But they took into account that some places within the county are still really far. So, I mean, just because we have a site in Greene County at Morrisville, that's not helping families per se in West Greene or Southeastern Greene. So they also set up a number of smaller satellite sites that were based on specific needs of that community. And so they hit a lot of families. They hit a lot of families, which was great. We are planning one more bag distribution for the end of the program year, so that will be at the end of May. And the nice thing is because, not nice because we're closed, but nice now that we can plan for that, it's very intentional. There's a few Head Start EC specialists who've taken the lead on it, and they're planning activities around some virtual stories. They're including like a laminated practice mat for them to do letter writing. They're doing scissor skills, and then they're just including in some fun summer activities. So it will be a really nice way to kind of close out our program year and give them some things for the summer. And then for just our kindergarten kids, we're going to still include in those tools that we would have given out to those kids. So there's, a learning packet, things for parents to know about transitioning. So hopefully providing a similar experience than had they been there, for that end of year celebration.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So what advice would you give a parent that is getting ready to send their children to kindergarten?
I know it probably sounds a little cliche, but I would tell them not to worry. I think right now, everyone is a little bit panicked, a little bit hard on themselves, a little bit frustrated with the situation. And I know myself as a parent, I feel my kid's not, getting the quality that he would be getting if he were still in school. And I think that's probably how a lot of our pre-K families feel, that they were suddenly thrown into this new role where they're now responsible of getting their child kindergarten ready. And even though parents are a child's first teacher and they read and they do activities, they're not comfortable in that same way that our teachers are of meeting the standards and getting kids in line with what they need to be doing. And so I would say that we probably have a lot of nervous parents saying, I don't know if I'm going to be, sorry about that. Parents, saying they don't know if their child's going to be ready for school. And I would just tell them not to worry about it. Teachers in the public school system are used to kids coming in at all different levels. They're used to kids coming in, from all different backgrounds, and the kids will be okay. And so it's easy to say, and it's cliche to say, don't worry about it, because I know there's a lot changing, but it will be okay. And those kiddos, even though they didn't get to participate in our full year, they were in our program, for half the program year, making friends, learning things. getting to see their schools, and it'll work out. It honestly will.
That's wonderful advice. Okay, so Kris, I'd like to thank you for your time today and telling us about the pre-K program.
Oh, you are quite welcome. It was good talking with you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.